Hey team. Well, welcome back to the ABCDs of Sports podcast. This is game 17. I'm your team captain, Samit Anand. This is the week of March 24th, 2025. Yeah. Yeah. Having a tough one today, folks. Because as a sportsman, we've all had these moments, those moments when your heart's been ripped out, and having that right now. Last Thursday, I went up to LA from San Diego. I went up to see SoFi Stadium. By the way, a beautiful stadium. If ever you all get a chance to go and see any sporting event or concert there, it definitely worth it. Super, super amazing, gorgeous. It's like this chic special club that people can go to. But the fun part is like you might think you're like an exclusive club, but it's just like regular stuff the way how things are looked at. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, tangent there. But last Thursday I went there to see the U.S. men's national team take on Panama in the CONCACAF Nations League. Super excited as always, as you know, that's one of my teams, and unfortunately we lost. We did not play well at all, and we lost on a very last minute goal, 1-0 to Panama. And like to be honest, I'm still in shock. And and to make matters worse, they played in the third mate place match against Canada last Sunday. I watched it try, see if there was some fight, trying to get a move on, and they lost that 2-1 as well. And so I'm going through the all the stages of grief right now, and not doing very good with acceptance. That's a quote my buddy Arjun Patel. Yeah, Arjun Patel, by the way, the guy who was in game three, was with me there, and also one of my good buddies, Jamie Chabra, who I went to med school with. He came out. I'm trying to convert him and turn him into a big soccer fan, and he's been a great buddy and good sport. And I feel bad because it was his first national team game. They lost, and it was supposed to be a double header, and we were supposed to stay for the second game, which was Mexico versus Canada. And Arjun and I, we were just so heartbroken and down, but we left. We said we had to go because we couldn't be in there, because all the Mexican fans who filled the stadium and watched the game were celebrating like crazy, and they were going nuts. And then we knew high chance that Mexico was going to win the game, which they did against Canada. And we just didn't feel like we could be there in front of like 100,000 Mexican fans just cheering and going crazy. Well, we're just that way, so we had to go. But sorry, Jamie, on that one. Sorry, you didn't get your full experience, but we'll make it up to you. So still feeling that, and believe it or not, I've gone to 8 U.S. men's national team games, including World Cups, and I'm still yet to experience my first U.S. men's national team win live. Yeah, my record is 0 wins, 5 losses, and 3 ties. And it's to be honest, I'm not one to be superstitious, but I feel like I'm a jinx right now. And I noticed patterns, so there's got to be something going on. I have no idea why that whenever I watch them, they don't win, and it's kind of wacky. And we'll get into more in depth about that stuff, but uh, I don't know. Well, so the best way to move on from that, I think, is one, be with you guys. So thank you, and thank you for sharing it that way. And two, we're gonna. I was thinking for game 17, we're gonna do something different, and we'll talk about it where after we finish our game plan. So let's do the game plan first, and then I'll tell you how I'm gonna help get over this stuff, and we'll go from there. All right. So it's time for our game plan. The game plan. As always, we start the game plan with our magic number. This is game 17, so it's number 17. And you might not think this, you might have not heard it. Only the purest sports fans probably know this one, but game 17 and number 17 belongs to Mr. John Havlicek. Again, referencing Mike Greenberg's book, Got Your Number. Mr. John Havlicek, a three-time NCAA champ, leading Ohio State to all three national championships when in the years that he played there. And one thing that most people probably do not know, but your all-time leading Boston Celtics scorer in the history of basketball is none other than Mr. John Havlicek. It's not Larry Bird. It's not Bill Russell. It's not current Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. It's Mr. John Havlicek. Here's some interesting facts about probably one of the most underrated players ever to play any sport. In 16 seasons, he played 1,442 games out of a possible 1,481 games. That includes the playoffs. Wow. I mean, that's durability. So let's start with that. That's, the best ability is availability, they say. And he was always available and ready for his team. Next thing, he was one of two players, up to this point, he is one of two players in the history of NBA to have scored 26,000 points, had 8,000 rebounds, and had 6,000 assists. The other one, Mr. LeBron James. I mean, that's rare company. So pretty cool. And he did all this when there was no 3-point line. So none of his points were counted as a 3-point shot, all 2-pointers. Wonder how it would done if he'd been able to shoot, get 3-pointers. So I'm sure we go next level. Final interesting stat. Well, a couple of them. All right. One, he was an 8-time all defensive team member, and he is an 8-time NBA champ with the Boston Celtics, and he was the leading scorer in 4 of those championship seasons. So pretty incredible. So game of the week. Yeah, if you remember from the last game, we talked about March Madness and the NCAA basketball championship. I had 5 brackets, 1 on ESPN, 3 on this pool with Amar's cousins and other distant cousins and friends, and 1 more on CBS, and they're all busted right now, so not doing good there. Oh well, my Final Four is still intact, which is good, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm not having high hopes there. But games of the week for that this weekend, starting March 27th, there's the Sweet 16, and next weekend, April 5th, is the Final Four, and April 7th is the NCAA Championship. So all fun things to check out. Player to watch, as we've been saying, we are on the Ovechkin all-time goal scoring chase watch. The dude has 6 more goals to become the all-time leading goal scorer in NHL history. 6 more. He currently sits at 889. It's going to be fun to watch. If you have ESPN, they're going to be televising practically every game now from here on out until he breaks it. So keep an eye out for that. Something to check out. All right, it's time to get over this UN's Nations League. Well, I decided that I want to look at and then refresh and then share with you my sports bucket list. Here we go. All right, so we are going to check out my sports bucket list. These are in random order. The 11 things that I want to do before I die in terms of sports wise. So I'm super excited. It's going to keep, get the hope going and things to look forward to and things to accomplish. So here we go. Random order, as I said. But first few are going to be soccer wise because, as you know, soccer is my favorite sport. The first one is going off the coattails of our opening statement. I want to see the U.S. men's national team win in person. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, I'm already 8 games in. I want to see them win and then see what it feels like to experience that live. So I'm going to keep trying. Although like I said, I'm not sure if I really should, because right now, after 8 games and they haven't won a game in front of me, I might be cursing them. Yeah, I mean, and even the 3 ties that I saw, there was like one of them, the World Cup in 2006 against Italy, where they had to play like half the game down 2 men. Like they had 2 red cards, while Italy had 1, but they were still down a man, and they had to hold on for dear life for 1-1 win, and I mean 1-1 draw. And on top of that one goal that they scored was an own goal, so they didn't play well. The other two draws, they didn't play well either. Well, they played well. I mean, one was the World Cup game against Portugal in Manaus, Brazil in 2014, and then had gone up 2-1, and then they let in a last second goal with a epic Cristiano Ronaldo cross that Edler scored with a header, and that was more heartbreaking than it was pretty cool for a second. It felt like we are gonna win, but to feel that like, and the last one was in 2017, really literally a few days after the Chargers decided to leave San Diego and move to LA, and I went to go see the men's national team game because it was here in San Diego at Qualcomm Stadium, and they played their C team, and it was against Serbia, and Serbia had their C team, and it was a lackluster blah of a draw. So I've never really seen the U.S. men's national team play well live. So I I think I don't know. I hope, like I said, I hope I don't curse them, but I'm going to keep trying to get it. Which brings me to my second thing that I want to do in terms of my bucket list. In soccer at the international level, if you have 100 caps or appearances for your national team, that means you are a significant part of the history of the national team. Like the national team's history cannot be written without you. So it means you're a very impactful player for the team and for your country. So I have this thing. Well, I don't think I'll make 100 caps, so because that would take a lot and that'd be super expensive, and Umar would probably kick my butt. That all my time and money and vacations going to national team games. But I do have a wish list of making 50 caps. 50 caps is pretty good that way. We'll see once I get to 50 if I can get to 100. We'll go with it. Currently, believe it or not, oh, and those 50 caps are both men and women's national team games. So currently I sit at 15 with a record of 4 wins, 6 losses, and 5 ties. Yeah, I know. It's not good. I should be better than that, and hopefully, with things going sooner, the women's national team on the up and up, and the World Cup coming up, that we can turn that around and be above 500, have more wins than losses. But yes, I want to get to 50. Yeah, and I'm on a little bit of a losing streak. I think since October of, not October, about a year ago, February of 2024, and the Women's Gold Cup final, USA versus Brazil, with USA winning 1-0. Since then, I've on a losing streak with that stuff. Yeah, I've like 3-4 losses. One was the Uruguay game against USA, USA against Uruguay and Copa America in Kansas City. There's the women's losses just this past month in She Believes Cup, and then of course then this past week with the men's national team losing Nation League. So, I'm on a really bad losing streak for that. Got to fix that up. I would love to one day, possibly, if possible, watch a World Cup final, either men's or women's. I don't know how that's going to happen. I'll have to figure that out. If it's men's, it's going to be super expensive. Probably be like a last death wish or something. But I think I have a better chance with the women because women's tickets are currently cheaper. And with the next World Cup being in Brazil for the women and then the one after that in USA, I think there's a high chance. So I'm going to make that happen. I would love to go to a game internationally at an iconic stadium for like anything iconic soccer stadium that I'm thinking of. I mean, you're talking about like Mexico City's Azteca, which next year will be the first ever stadium to host 3 different World Cup games, meaning like host a game in 3 different World Cups. Wembley Stadium in England, although it's Wembley, not the old iconic one, but it's still pretty iconic right now. Old Trafford at Manchester City. I'll change that up a bit. I like to just in an iconic stadium. We're talking about like football. Lambeau Field would be really fun. If you're any NFL fan knows that Lambeau Field is probably one of the most historic ones there. Madison Square Garden in New York for either hockey of the New York Rangers or New York Knicks. That would be pretty amazing. Maybe Olympic Stadion in Germany and Berlin might be one. Maybe Fenway Park for baseball in Boston, or Yankee Stadium. Although again, Yankee Stadium has been a refurbished new one. That might be something. Wrigley Field in Chicago. Oh, I can forget that one. That's probably the one because that one's been notorious for the longest time only having day games. So that'd be cool. So a game like in an iconic stadium that has tons of history, that'd be pretty cool. All right, we're gonna move away from soccer. My next thing on my list is attending Olympics. either or both, summer or winter. If it's Summer Olympics, I'd love to probably see gymnastics as always, the women's, which is supposed to be super cool. Swimming, you can't go wrong with something super cool. I can watch one of those, or regular volleyball too. If we watch one of those, that'd be great. I'm shooting for LA 2028. Hopefully that we can make that work and happen. If it's Winter Olympics, there's two big ones that are coming to mind, but I'll probably open it up. Obviously, the hockey final, either men's or women's, or curling. Yes, you guys know that I'm a big curling fan. I think it's fun. I would be love to check it out in person. We can even do maybe the figure skating. Would be love to check out that. Be nice. Or any of the speed skating too. Speed skating would be fun. But I think that's my order in terms of Winter Olympics and some of that. Next thing, I would love to take a tour of the ESPN studios in Bristol, Connecticut, the headquarters of ESPN. I mean, you know, going back, right? We're talking about the 80s. ESPN was the first, true full sports network that was showing 24/7 sports and giving sports news. And it's become this iconic thing and brand and has changed things so much when it comes to sports viewership and sports fandom. And there's so much behind that and so many cool memories and so many things. And, ESPN, my favorite app, my favorite website practically, especially when it comes to sports. So I would love to do that. Next, I would love to do scuba diving. I think scuba diving would be really, really fun and learn that. So I need to figure out that. My next thing I want to learn is surfing. I know living in Southern California, it's kind of odd. I've never learned how to surf, but you know what? I think it would be cool and fun. I've always heard from surfers like they've always enjoyed it. They always feel really at peace and they appreciate it. So do that. Next thing on the list would probably see a tennis final. Men's, women's, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which final, the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon. Oh man, if I could get to go to Wimbledon, check that out in London, England, that would be pretty awesome. Or New York's, US Open. Number 10 is seeing an NBA Finals game somewhere, live. It's experiencing that, the atmosphere of the home team and how they're going crazy and seeing how their team experiences championship. Number 12, 11, sorry, number 11, a Stanley Cup final hockey. Number 12, the Super Bowl. I mean, come on, that would be pretty nuts and crazy, although that would probably also cost me an arm and a leg and be a last second death wish. Uh, oh, and then finally, you know what? I was thinking that I'd love to learn martial arts. That would be good as a sport. I've heard that's a good way of learning a good disciplined way of life and peace and stuff that way. Now, with all of these, though, there's one thing that would make it even so much more special and much more amazing, and that would be experiencing with my wife and my kids. If we could do that together, like that would be next level, and that would dream come true. All right. Well, thank you all. Yeah, help me feel better and get over these U.S. men's national team losses. And we will catch you soon next time. Okay. As always, good game, good sportsmanship, and lots of love. You take care. Bye.